lap at the start of this stint. So they have managed to get back onto the lead lap. And this particular
All
team
right.
and the team up in first place wins a championship for either one of these two teams at this point. So this first and second place battle is the biggest battle of the race and probably of the season for these two teams here.
And good morning,
And it's still
stream.
separated by 2 minutes.
We're live. We see a little bit of drama happening already. See Jakey missed the pit entry by the looks on the in lap, causing some yellow flags on the exit. Oh no! We'll see how that's being handled further down the stretch.
We had a driver have a oopsies in the formation lap on the last stint as well, which I didn't announce, but actually picked up some
Oopsies.
damage in that oopsies and cost themselves a little extra pit time before being able to get out on track as well. So,
Oh no!
oh yeah, you hate to see it. You definitely hate
Yeah.
to see it, but it definitely does happen. I mean, rain, the track's wet, it's dark. It happens. It definitely happens.
Yeah, it's still so dark. Come on. What's going on?
All right, so it is Mike here, and Mike should be. Where are we here? We're just heading to Blochemont right now. So, Race Asylum Corvette heading your way here about 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds time as well.
This has to be the longest night ever at Spa. I know. Ever since I watched this one, it's dark.
Focus. All right, and we got Esports Race Asylum now into pit lane, heading towards their pit box. So it is RA's Oast going to be next, and he's about a minute behind, minute 20 in behind Esports Race Asylum.
Right, so could be Evo to grab that wheel for the 44 car.
You'll have to queue.
But it's roughly one lap, the gap between P1 and P2.
About a half. Just about a full lap, yeah. Just about 2 minutes and 9 seconds, I believe. 2 minutes 10, something like that.
Yeah, so Evo getting released. Again, interesting decisions for the drivers. It's a trying track for that start. Still a bit moist on the track. And Evo opting to go out on mediums. The leader, Neo, they went out on intermediates. So interesting.
That is a potential 40-second gain for Esports Races on there if they can make that work.
And yeah, the track looks pretty much dry on that racing line. So if you can keep it on this thin line in those tricky visible conditions, you might get a good chance.
Race Asylum number 77 GTR just entering pit lane.
But also tricky.
Like Hovercraft is getting ready to go in.
Yeah, Hovercraft also just entering pit lane for Sector 7 BMW.
And actually, that racing line has I don't know. It's wide enough to not like risk a spin when you be just like a centimeter off the line. So that's actually good news for Evo. So you can push.
We got Race Asylum 2 Lexus now entering pit lane here as well.
What about the leaders now? The Neo on those intermediates already see some severe wear appearing in those dry conditions. But again, that's probably the bad luck for the leaders. They had to go out very early compared to the rest of the grid, and it was definitely wet here. Okay, we have Lugi for Race Asylum, 77 out on track. Mediums as well, so I think everyone leaving the pits now will go for medium tires.
And apparently the ORT Racing team missed the memo on that one, and unfortunately that's going to cost them a potential extra pit stop over the field. The medium tire riders obviously still need to survive the drying condition, but we'll see what happens. We got Gelf is about a minute out, Ando just coming into pit lane.
And the leader into the pits now, so that's 2 minutes 18 at the moment.
My eyes are too small. Good stint, Oz. Good stint, brother. Good run out there. All right, so we're just gonna leave Jaeger take over here as he's now transition. Some off happening unless
Yeah, I have a couple of cars
watching,
out of track now.
and we're just gonna continue to just kind of tell the time gaps between the next team coming in. So we'll just relaying the information that he needs.
Yeah, so Neo, the leader, changing now the tires from intermediates
MRL BMW just came in.
to those mediums, but definitely lost some time with that move. So Evo is already heading towards No Name, and Neo now coming out of the pits onto the Campbell Straight. So that's a big chunk of time gain for the 44 Esports Race Asylum car. We'll have a look at that gap between the two drivers once it will update this game.
It took a couple laps for us here over the last couple of stints as well, so the game is definitely a bit cooperative right now, so
No.
just bear with it.
It's not that hard. Like, it's still assuming 15. That I doubt it. Let's put it that way.
It took all 14 drivers to get on track, and if it basically I really had proper lap timing to trust.
So
We have Beetlejuice coming in for Syndicate Racing.
Jakey in again. So after missing that driver swap, what had to stay out on track on intermediates, and now a very long in lap to go back to his pit crew and go on for
Absolutely.
medium. So again, bit of race
MRL
screwed
Fish in.
with that. E6 we have Mazda for the Sector 7 Racing, that RS01 still running strong. E7 it's Oscar for MRL, the 33 EMW. Those 7 cars are currently out on track, and now we have an updated gap. EO to Evo, that's 1 minute 38 currently.
There we go. That is a good time gain there. 10 at the swap, so that's a good game there by Evo. We got some interesting happenings happening back end of the field here too. So you may have 3 cars literally coming in, nose to tail here, behind each other potentially.
Yeah, just see McNaughty out on track for the 64 Syndicate Racing Corvette, and Iceman.
Got a little spicy there, Chad.
5.5 seconds that gap for Iceman for MRL2 at 09 Nissan GTR. And then we are still waiting for the remaining 4
Loose
drivers.
Moose Racing will be making an entry into pit lane in about 8 seconds here. And then it should be about another lap from there for the next 2. Got a nice little battle happening here, Chad. We gotta go check out on this now, don't we?
Someone said a battle? What? Where?
Ah, yeah. Yeah, right at the end of the race here.
Okay.
Right at the
Oh,
end of the
man.
stint.
Oh, 1 minute.
I mean, it's not even a positional battle either. It's actually just a driver trying to unlap themselves from another
Still.
driver right we're seeing. But a great battle, yeah, for sure.
We take it, no matter what.
Absolutely.
So 1 minute 35. Evo is pushing like crazy. He also has the advantage, like he knows that track with those medium tires for longer than Neo needs to adjust. Still doing the first couple of laps on intermediates. Now on those mediums, trying to get up to speed, but lost 3, 4, 5 seconds again. So will it be another miracle for the 44 car? Like a massive comeback drive. When I left, they were, I don't know, more than 3 minutes down on the leaders. Now it's 1 minute 33. And coming.
Some bold choices and some big decisions over the last few hours. That's for sure.
But yeah, Evo definitely here on a mission. Trying to close that gap even more. And yeah, it definitely has implications for the overall team championship. So if it stands that way, both teams would be tied on points, but ORT would win the tiebreaker. They would still be crowned GTEC champions of 2024. So 44 car, they need to push like crazy, and it's 1 minute 33 that gap. Neo with the 2 minute 22 on his first flying lap on mediums. Evo did a 2 minute 20.
And I mean, you want to talk about the right guy for the job and behind the wheel of that car. Now it is mostly now to try and really maximize closing that gap up. So a good call by the Esports Race Asylum team there.
Yeah.
Pilots jumping in next. We do have Finalized coming in here for the number 4 McLaren.
Yeah, we see the Loose Moose Racing AMG with Toto Wolff on track, and we should see La Bomba Negra for the 45 car.
And we've got ERA's BMW now entering pit lane as well.
So yeah, the 45 getting released. Waiting for two more drivers.
The last driver, the LRC McLaren, Banana Josh, currently actually just unlapped themselves from the 11th place driver finalized right before these final couple laps. So the LRC McLaren team has really been putting in some serious work here in the latter part of this race, have regained a full lap down from 13th and gained that position, and now working on essentially 12th place.
So BMW, the 999, gets out on track. Now leaving the pits. We will see, it still shows intermediates, but I'm pretty sure they changed the tires to mediums. Yes, they did.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just a few hours away from.
So let's quickly run through that grid.
Thank you to Cupcake for stepping into the commentary booth. It's going to be a short tweet. We're going to hand it over to Jaeger, and he is live on the International Racing Organization's YouTube channel. And I was your host for the last few hours, G45 Gaming. We'll see you back in 6 hours' time for our final 2 hours. Appreciate you all. Love you all. Thank you to the viewers. We'll see you all over in the IRO YouTube channel.
Thank
Jaeger?
you for that.
Fun, my man.
6 hours in a row. Well done. So get a little rest, and then you will bring it home for us. I think stint 12 it is for you again.
Absolutely.
Nice
We're
one.
gonna do the final
Nice
stint here
one.
and finish it off here as well. And I think Banana Josh just disconnected right at the end.
It doesn't matter. All right. So let's see. Neo,
Okay.
1 minute 32. Evo.
That is confirmed.
Evo closing that gap. Will Sitter in P4, currently the fastest driver out on track. That gap to Lugi in P3, 23.9 currently. Definitely a good pace, but also Lugi with a 18.6 last time around, so not much in separating those two drivers. Evo sets the fastest lap with a 2 minutes 17.8. What about Neo? 2:19.3. So yeah, the gap is melting currently between P1 and P2. It's still roughly 90 seconds, but wow, what a start for the 44 and Evo to that stint. So we go with Lugi in P3 for the 77 race 7 car. Pole Sitter for the 13. BMW for Sector 7 Racing in P4. We have Jakey after that. Driver swap mistake in P5 for the 218 Race Asylum Lexus RC and F in P5. 48 seconds the gap to P4. Mazda, the second Sector 7 car in P6, still running 22 seconds. Then in P7 it is Oscar for MRL, another BMW on the track. We have McNaughty in P8 under pressure. Iceman in that GTR chasing down the Syndicate Racing Corvette. 6, 7, 10 that gap, so we get a nice little battle. We watch it from the onboard perspective, cockpit view it is, that Nissan. We also see some lights in the distance. Who's that driver? It's not Toto Wolff. He's nearly 2 minutes behind. It could be a BMW. It is a BMW. It's the 999 Adriano. Pushing earlier on in the stint. So what to do now for Adriano? He's a couple of laps down in P12, but definitely has some speed. And McNaughty with a good final sector opened up that gap over a second, and we should see that BMW now flying past Iceman on that Camel Straight. No. Wouldn't get the move into the Camel, after the Camel into Le Combe. Oh, Iceman had a decent run out of Eau Rouge and Radion. Again, middle sector should be a good one for that GTR. And we can see the track now basically dry, just a little bit wet on those curbs, but nothing major. It is, yeah, maximum attack now for those that want to attack. Of course, no holding back anymore. It's still close, under a second that gap, coming out of Stavelo, getting a good run, gaining some time. And we see that BMW still very, very close. At this stage, I think Adriano in that BMW that has the pace, tries to send it around the outside. That's probably not ideal to go for a move into the bus stop, but alright. Not sure if Iceman is happy with that move. But maybe he can use Adriano's speed to get closer to McNaughty now. We'll get back to the TV camera to see what happens. So it's nearly 2 seconds that gap, but Iceman should get a nice little tow from that BMW, towing him along the Camel Straight, and maybe then can benefit from the unlapping attempt that BMW in a couple of minutes time. But that is P8, P9 closest battle currently for position on track. But we will have a look at the leaders, of course. We don't want to miss anything. So still NIO leading 1 minute 27, 2 minute 18.3 last time around. So not losing that much to Evo. 2/17 for the 44 car. I think had a penalty or a little off track. Lost a second roughly, judging that delta. Yeah, 2 minute 19.1. So, and in P3 it's Lugi for the 77 Race Asylum car at Nissan GTR. Pole sitter for Sector 7 Racing, the number 13 BMW. They are catching P3 at the moment. 2-3 seconds since that driver swap. Jakey in P5, up to speed now on those medium tires. Into the mid 2 minutes 17s it is. Mazda 2 minute 18s. 25 seconds roughly that gap to P5, and Oscar in P7. In a bit of no man's land at the moment. And we had this battle, McNaughty P8, Iceman for MRL in P9. Nearly 2 minutes the gap to Toto Wolff in P10 for Loose Moose Racing. The last position to score some points for this event. So in P11 we have last minute racing, the gap to Toto Wolff, and 53. That's 2 minutes and 8 seconds, so a long way to 05 currently. That delta is jumping up a little bit. Yeah, and in P12 it's Adriano, 31.8 seconds the gap to P11, and Frosty for LRC P13. Oh, that looks like quite some lag for the Australian driver. And 15 minutes 30 seconds behind the leaders. That is more than 4 minutes to P12. So, and we go a little bit of the bonnet cam view to get a glimpse at the weather. Some clouds, but don't think dangerous clouds. It comes down to rain. We see a nice night sky appearing here in Belgium, in the Ardennes forest at Spa-Francorchamps during that time of day. So towards the end of that stint, we might be able to get a glimpse at seeing some daylight. It was a very long night here at the racetrack. what do you expect? It's winter in Europe, and the days are short, the nights are long. So yeah, looks like very stable conditions at the moment. And try racing for all of us. The gap between Neo and Evo now very stable, 1 minute and 28 seconds. 1 minute 22 Lugi in P3. Oscar with that fastest lap, currently to 17.1 pole sitter. Still with a very good opening stint for Sector 7 it is Sector 7 Racing. Syndicate Racing and Sector 7 Racing gets me confused sometimes, but it's Sector 7 Racing, of course. The 13 BMW, hoping to get onto the podium, maybe. Not too far behind. If we are considering it is stint 9 out of 12. So still more than 7 hours of racing left. And Jakey in P5 for Race Asylum. We have Hatstar in P6, this number 7 RSO1. You see some sparks, also a little bit of lag happening for the New Zealand based driver. Let's hope it's not impacting the driving too much for the other drivers around. So Oscar with that fastest lap of the stint so far, 2 minutes 17.193, and this is the battle again. McNaughty versus Iceman. We go on board. Get a closer look at that battle. Half a second. And it's Corvette versus Nissan. So through Blanchiment we go, braking now for the bus stop. And that Nissan GTR good on the brakes, not so good on the straight line, but could get a little bit of help for the next bit. So out of La Source gets a decent run, roughly half a second. That gap to that Corvette should be able to stay within 6/10 maybe. Coming towards the Camel Straight, and yeah, not really gaining, not losing in that slip. Still roughly half a second now. It should be Nissan territory after Lecombe, that middle sector. We see some cars ahead. Will this impact this battle for position? Blue flags again showing. And good run through Puhon. Giving Iceman. Oh, a yellow flag situation. Oh, I think that was Mazda, I think. It looks like the drivers got lucky there with the ghosting. So we have to go to Mazda yet with some damage. So see if we can catch that incident. So all good at this stage. Puhan. Oh, that curb still a bit wet, but looks, and then I say big off. And yeah, luckily the car ghosted. This could have ended in disaster for Iceman and McNaughty. So woof. Code Brown moment, definitely. But also Mazda into the pits, fixing that damage, and a bit of a whoa wake up call. Not sure if they're really asleep. It should be before bedtime for our friends from down under. But this is the battle for position still. 64 versus the number 9, and McNaughty has to go defensive, approaching the Lake Horn chicane after the Camel Straight. And Iceman is pushing. Can he force McNaughty into a little mistake? Is there an opportunity to send it past the Corvette? Maybe into Puhan? No, it's 3/10. That's probably too far behind. See again a good run through Puhan. That downforce definitely helping the GTR. Now really close for the pit path chicane. We approach that downhill braking zone for Stavello 1. Getting the car straight and then back onto the power for the run out of Stavello 2. It's 3:10. Not close enough, probably, to send it into the bus stop. They should run single file. Ooh, Blanchimont, little advantage for Iceman. Good speed. McNaughty going defensive on the bus stop. Can he get it stopped? Yeah. Parks his car. And where's the opportunity for that Nissan? Doesn't have the legs to get past that Corvette on that Camel Straight, which should be the best opportunity. So again, half a second, 6/10 that gap between the two drivers. 7/10 now, good exit out of La Source. And that should give McNaughty the upper hand before Lake Homp again, keeping that gap stable. 7/10. So what's happening at the front? We see Rusty with the fastest lap by 17.0, 18.1 personal best for Neo, the leaders. Where is Evo? Also settled with mid to low 2-minute 18s now in that Corvette. But the tire wear is kicking in. In P3 it is still Lugi, but that gap to pole sitter under 20 seconds, 18.5 currently. So Lugi also lap times are dropping more towards 2-minute 19s compared to the personal best, a 2 minutes 17.5 earlier on. All sitters can still run some 2 minute 18s at this stage. The same goes for Jakey, 17s and low 18s currently. Trying to make the best out of that driver swap whoopsie. And it is Oscar up to P6 after that big scary moment for Mazda with resulting in damage coming out of Pouen. So fresh mediums. The tank is full again. 3 seconds, so definitely now a off sync hit strategy with that incident. And then P8, P9, it's still McNaughty driving in front of Iceman for MRL. P10 is Toto Wolff for Blue Smooth Racing. And then Frosty with the disconnect. Oh, that's unlucky. That was... They were already last, were pushing, and they disconnected. But yeah, we saw quite some lag happening, unfortunately, for the Australian driver. So that's LRC with another disconnect. Let's hope they can return for the next stint. The gap between P11 and P12, 22.8. Adriano is pushing to 17, still doable. And that, and it was just a brief hiccup with the connection by the looks. Frosty is back in the lobby, but yeah, out of this race, unfortunately. So we should, stick with this battle for position. 64 versus number 9. Still running within a second of each other for the last 15 to 20 minutes probably. Again, it's difficult for Iceman in the GTR go for a move. 1 second now, and then McNaughty open up that gap on the Camel Straight, 1.1, braking for Lecombe. Iceman should gain a little bit through the next complex. Not letting McNaughty drive away with it, and see more clouds appearing on some of those camera shots. Will we see a little bit of a mid-race rain intermezzo? We also see that Mazda is closing that gap slowly. 3 seconds down to 2.6. The tire advantage should help Mazda, definitely. So could have 2 close battles for position. Now with this one, McNaughty and Iceman, 64 Syndicate Racing and number 9 MRL. And then we have the Syndicate Sector 7 Racing number 7 in P7 with another MRL, car 33 BMW. Ocheki in P5, big gap to Oscar. 45, the gap to Pole Sitter, who is still catching Lugi, 17.4 that gap. Lugi 2 minute 19s now with tire wear kicking in, and Neo and Evo, nothing changing between those two drivers at the moment. 2 minute 18s mid to the high now looks to be the pace. So back to battle for P8 and P9. Through that middle section of the track, we see Iceman closing that gap every time. 4th and into Pouhon they go. Under 3/10 this time. But again, not close enough for that short straight. Oh. Got a bit deep into the chicane. But doesn't need to go ultra defensive. Can rely on the Corvette power coming out of Stavelo. 4th. Should be safe, I think. We see a little lift for that Corvette through Blanchimont. I think Iceman is let out. And another lap. And nothing changed between those two. Still a very close gap. What about... Oh, Mazda closed that gap to Oscar, but has a half a second penalty. Oh, and Oscar spins it! And collects some damage. Oh no. Gets the car running again. But what happened to the MRL driver? Is it a curb? No, the rear just went. That's probably one of those BMW things. So that's unlucky for the 33 car damage, but staying out. So as long as they can stay with another driver with a slipstream, it's okay. But probably they're just waiting for their scheduled pit stop. Now it all depends if they can stay with that fellow BMW. That should be the Race Asylum BMW, but probably losing that slipstream now with the damage. So it's a front bumper and front right suspension, which has taken a hit. And I think he's dropping out of that slipstream with the gap to Mazda 10 seconds, and yeah, going in the wrong direction, of course, for Oscar. So it's that battle for P8 and P9 still going on. McNaughty P8 for Syndicate Racing, the 64 Corvette, and Iceman for MRL team number 2. That Nissan GTR Nismo GT3 car. In 10th, we have Toto Wolff. Set gap 8 minute 55 to the leaders versus 6 minute 51, 2 minutes and 4 seconds. P11 La Bomba Negra for last minute racing, and Adriano under 16 seconds, so definitely gaining on P11. Lugi into the pits. That's again a very early pit stop. Racing lap 19. And into the pits we go. So Neo and Evo still lapping roughly the same pace, 1 minute 28, 1 minute 29, something like that. Pole sitter briefly up to P3 with that pit stop happening for Lugi. Where is Jakey? No, Jakey too far behind. The Lugi should have some clean air, a clear track as well to use those mediums for the undercut. And away he goes. Jakey in P5, Mazda then P6, and Oscar losing time. It's 12.4 now. 2 minutes 20.5. So that's roughly 2 seconds losing with that damage. And another lap done, and it's still Iceman behind McNaughty. Six tenths again. That the exit, a good one again for McNaughty in the Corvette, opening up that gap to roughly 8 tenths for Oruge and Radion. Should keep roughly those 7-8 tenths for the Camel Straight. Hey, what a run! A brilliant run on that first sector. Purple. And I always have a look at the sky to see if I can spot some rain clouds. It still looks very friendly from what I can tell. It's the push, but we should be approaching the pit stop window for some of the drivers. The tire wear is definitely kicking in for the majority of that grid now. Can they stretch this stint? A bit longer. 1 minute 32 Evo with a 2 minute 21.2. Lost 3 seconds nearly last time round. And you with a penalty, and tires not looking that good anymore. So how long can they run those medium tires? I think they want to be running like 26 maybe, something like lap 26, 27. Still a couple of minutes away from that window. It could open. You could go in this lap. You have to also hope for a little bit of rain happening towards the end of the stint, and yeah, with the rain, I think this is still the correct graphics. So stint 9, towards the end of the stint, it is RO6 scheduled. We'll see how that goes towards the end of that stint. It's still some time, but we might be seeing some rain starting lap 45, round about that. And now it's cloudy on some parts, but not like a huge cloud cover. And pole sitter staying out, Lugi with that very early pit stop down to P4. A 17.3 immediately personal best. After that pit stop, Jakey in P5. Mazda in P6. And Oscar still driving around with damage, trying to get this first stint done as planned, and then change tires, refuel, and fix the damage. That looks like to be the idea. So 2 minute 19.9 last time around, so still losing a second per lap roughly. Oh, and Iceman finally got past McNaughty, 2 minute 23.2 lap 19, so we missed that overtake. Or was it an off track somewhere? We have a look, that's lap 19. Iceman at 2 minute 19.3. Not sure if there was contact between the cars, but it's now 5.5, and Iceman opening up that gap to the 64. And Butterwolf still running in P10 for Loose Moose Racing. And that escalated quickly. Look at that, Adriano under 2 seconds a gap to the Bomba Negra. He's flying in that BMW. Oh, could and will probably challenge the last minute racing McLaren. The next lap already into Lecombe. Continues that run. 1.4, 1.5. We'll see. Tires still looking okay on that McLaren. And Adriano pushing. Definitely used more of his tires. It's 1.3 and making the best out of the tires while they're still working. 1.2 has some slipstream. Will bring that gap down even further. But that very committed run through Eau Rouge. Gained another 10th. What a run! 2 10ths gained, and now slipstream helping. 8 10th. That's crazy. Purple sector 1 for Adriano. So a massive stint for the Race Asylum driver to bring that car that close to P11, and probably won't he's staying for very long behind. That 45 car is... Oh, Jakey disconnected as well. Oh, it's... Is it the cursed stint? Jakey running in P5, disconnected from the lobby. So lap 23, 24-ish, where Jakey disconnected. That's a shame for the 218 Lexus. And now we should see the run. Adriano coming out of Stavelo. Lego step aside, no, I think La Bomba Negra had to serve a penalty, but slowed down, so Adriano moves up into P10. That is currently worth some points for the team. So P10 for Adriano, P11 for La Bomba Negra for last minute racing. So the front runners still going, but could be the in lap. No, one more lap it is for ORT, 1 minute 32, that gap to Evo. Tires not looking good, not gonna lie. Same goes for pole setter here as well. It is 1 minute 39 the gap to Evo in P2, 11.7 to Lugi. Lugi pitted early. Potato, yeah, probably one more lap, 2 more laps. Could see that it's happening. Mazda in P5. Oscar losing time and time with that damage. So when is the opportunity to go for a pit stop? Not this lap, by the looks. Iceman in P7 for MRL. Nearly 6 seconds that gap to McNaughty in P8, and also very worn tires at this stage of the race. Toto Wolff in P9. Tires looking quite good compared to the rest of the grid on lap 22 it is. Adriano and in P10 already opened up that gap to La Bomba Negra with 2.3 seconds. And Evo into the pits. What about Neo? Probably doing the same. The end of that lap now. We should be roughly doing one more lap, so lap 27 would be my guess. So that's like cutting the stint into halves, and we are getting a little bit of daylight now. Look at that. The long night has come to an end. We can finally see the cars and those beautiful liveries again. So not that long. And then we can also have a better look at the sky and the clouds, where we see some rain. So Evo on the out lap. 1 lap down at this moment, but Neo they will be pitting very soon. Pole sitter also staying out for one more lap. Lugi with those fresh tires definitely gaining. 7.3. Will get up to P3 once pole sitter is visiting his pit crew. And in P5 it is sector 7, the number 7. "30 seconds now, that gap to Oscar in P6. And after the overtake, Iceman is not looking behind, increasing that gap. Nearly 7 seconds it is, and here comes Neo going for another lap, so I'm a bit surprised to see them running that long. They probably still feel okay. 2 minutes 20.8 though, dropped into the 2 minutes 20s. Now maybe one lap too long, but shouldn't matter that much. You still roughly get the 1 minute 30 gap, and after the pit stop, still a comfortable lead. And for the pole sitter going for one more lap. Oh, we see Lugi there with a wild exit out of the bus stop chicane. But really gaining now on the BMW. Oh, quite a difference with the tires there. Well, this should be the signal usually for the drivers now to pit. So you see how quickly Evo is catching. Gets so much more grip out of Stavello. Unlaps himself. Again back onto the lead lap, and pretty sure Neo will be pitting this lap now. We see the 64 doing the same. So what about the number 13 BMW on lap 27? So looks to be a good moment to think about that pit strategy. Lugi closed that gap 1.6 seconds. And I'm gonna call it. It's pit stop time for pole sitter and sector 7 racing. Half a second penalty, and in they go. Lugi up onto the podium position again. "57 seconds that gap to Evo. Neo coming out of the pits now. So we could see roughly a 1 minute 30 gap between Neo and Evo. Lugi P3 pole sitter into the pits Mazda, they have a off-sync strategy with that damage. So they will be running for, I don't know, 10 more laps on those medium tires, still looking okay. And Oscar on lap 27, this could be the in-lap finally. Oscar, what, 36 seconds now, the gap to the number 7 car in P5. Iceman into the pits. McNaughty, they around their out lap. 64 car. Toto Wolff still running. Probably one more lap as well. Adriano, 8 seconds, that gap to P11 with the last minute racings. 45 McLaren behind. So probably also one more lap for Adriano, then it's time to pit. Toto Wolff could do more laps if they want to. And let's see that gap between McNaughty and Iceman. Iceman coming out of the pit lane. Where is McNaughty? Around La Source, so the MRL Travel will keep E7. Oscar is in. It should have a nice little cushion and roughly 10 seconds. Make it 12. So didn't lose too much with that one extra lap. And here we go, that gap between P1 and P2, just under 1 minute 30 again. And Lugi in P3. Probably, yeah, but definitely Lugi with another pit stop. Pole sitter, they would probably go to the end on this compound, all depending on the weather situation, of course. But it's random weather, so anything can happen. At Spa, we can see bright blue skies, we can see some crazy rain happening. We don't know. But for now, it's a dry race. Mazda in P5. 1 minute 30 to Oscar. And we will get an update in between Oscar and Iceman. See that Delta now giving us a more accurate time, 1 minute roughly now between the two MRL cars in P6 and P7. So McNaughty for Syndicate Racing in P8. Toto Wolff in P9. Still needs to do a pit stop. Those tires are pretty much done now. Same goes for Adriano, so probably will be pitting this lap. 10 seconds the gap to the Bomba Negra, and yeah, Adriano coming in. What about the 45? McLaren can do one more lap. Decides to do so. So then let's stay with the leaders. Still dominating this event so far. With what's that now? 17 hours and a couple of minutes in to this 24-hour event. 1 minute 28, that gap. And same situation probably after the first couple of laps where Ivo was pushing. Now that gap stays roughly the same between the top two runners. The only cars on the lead lap. Oh, and sadly we have the information the LRC McLaren has also been officially retired from that event. So we are down to 12 cars then for the remainder of that race. Let's hope we don't see any more disconnects or retirements. In P3 we have Luigi with a bit of a different strategy, doing one extra stop by the looks. "44 seconds that gap to pole sitter in P4, 2/17 again for the Sector 7 racing car number 13. Number 7 car for Sector 7 racing in P5. 1 minute 32 Oscar Weimar in P6. Another 58 seconds to the second MRL car in P7. And it's 16 seconds roughly to McNaughty for Syndicate Racing. We have Toto Wolff for Loose Moose Racing in P9 and Adriano in P10. What's the gap to Toto Wolff? 12:08 to 9:22. 2 minutes for the Wolff. Whatever, that delta is not correct, I think. But it's definitely more than 2 minutes. We'll see how that gap evolves now. Roughly 2 minutes now, so that delta updated 1 minute 58 to the car in front. But yeah, holding on to that P10, which would give the 999 BMW or Race Asylum their first points of the season, so fingers crossed for that, definitely. And P11, it is last minute racing, currently 13.6 seconds behind, so yeah, a bit spaced out currently on track after on the long night. It is now they have to check now the gaps, see through the driver schedule who will be up next now. Don't do any silly mistakes. It still looks fairly decent, but we see definitely more clouds coming, so we have basically a full cloud cover over the track now. Don't see those dark clouds yet, but so you always have to keep an eye on the weather situation. So in that shot we could definitely see some darker clouds. Question is, will they hit the track? Will they move away from the track? Yeah, and that is 1 minute 27 the gap, so Evo closing that gap a little bit since that pit stop. 2 minutes 17.7 3 times in a row and 18.1. What's the lap gonna be? 17.6. Lugi with a 19.1. Now maybe the tires again. Yeah, another 2 minute 19. But Pole Sitter also did a 2 minute 19 last time round. Did 2 minutes 17 the previous laps. 2:19 it is as well for Mazda. So they will be hitting within the next 10 minutes would be my guess, or maybe they just drive and wait for big lag spikes happening now. So not so sure about that weather, so it looks like it's getting a bit lighter again, but we see some holes between the clouds, so the sun fighting its way through. And yeah, it looks like the lobby is also struggling in those conditions now. Big lag spikes, at least for me, in that spectate mode happening. hear quite often those very unpleasant noises here. Oh, it's... Please, don't die now. We get it sorted, hopefully. The connections. Adriano in P10, pushing 17.1, getting closer to the fastest lap of that stint, and gained 4 or 5 seconds maybe. P9 as well. And now it looks like that Neo is increasing, and that leads slightly again. So Evo not gaining anymore to 17.4 last time round. For the leaders, Evo with a 2 minutes 17.8, lost a couple of tenths. 129. Now we was down to 127. Lost a second during this lap. We'll wait for the lap time. The 18.4 compared to Neo's 17.4. There's Lugi 19th now since lap 32. Now struggling with the GTR. Okay, so you're still having bad weather in the UK, Nick, in some areas, so with like real life bad weather, storm, I heard of some power outages in some areas, so yeah, maybe that also has an impact on the connection quality. So Lugi is in. And he will lose that position to pole sitter. So pole sitter will move up 1 position and grabs that final podium spot. Lugi coming around into the pit lane, and here's the pit crew waiting. There's pole sitter into the bus stop chicane. So 38, 37 seconds, that gap. Now Lugi refueling new mediums by the looks. Pole sitter coming round Lasur, so this could be actually close between the two. Lugi didn't put in that much fuel, 47, where's pole sitter? We see him into Eau Rouge, and here is Lugi on the pit exit. But here pole sitter into P3. 6-7 seconds maybe. Maybe just 5. I don't know. We'll wait when Lugi is up to speed. So roughly 5 seconds. The gap between those two, and Lugi again will be pushing on those first couple of laps now to bring that gap down to the sector 7 BMW. So this could be a fight for position in a couple of minutes. With Evo and Neo, that gap 1 minute 30. Again, it's Neo pushing. Whoa, nearly got that fastest lap of the stint. 17.033. So Evo in second, and yeah, clouds open up a little bit. We finally see some sun. The pole sitter in P3, Lugi P4. We will be pushing. And in P5 it is Mazda. And there will be a pit stop happening. 2 laps probably away from that one. Oscar in P6. 1 minute 20 for the gap to P5, so big one 57 seconds behind, so in no man's land at the moment. Iceman 24 seconds roughly to E64. Syndicate Racing Corvette. Toto Wolff in P9, 9 minutes 30 behind the leaders. And Adriano is definitely pushing. One minute 45, so nearly gained 20 seconds since the pit stop. Oh, massive stint from Adriano. And it was also Adriano pushing for that fastest lap. A 17:019, still Frosty holds that fast lap. Will we see the 16 happening now? It's 16.8 by Adriano, so well done. Great lap in that BMW La Bomba Negra. 2 minute 20 last time round, 23 seconds. That gap to P10. And Neo pushing Evo's tires, maybe taking a hit now. Looks like he isn't able to get into the 2 minutes 17s at that stage of the race. Bolsitter with 2 minutes 17 still doing strong pace in that BMW. What about Luigi? First timed lap after that pit stop, fresh medium tires it is. Lost probably a second. Maybe there was a penalty involved. So I would have thought that Luigi was able to bring down that gap. And to 18.7, that's too slow for fresh medium tires if they want to have a shot at P3. Oh. 6.6, 6.5 seconds, so the gap is not really coming down between P3 and P4 at the moment. Have a look at Adriano. Again, improved that fastest lap, a 16.667. Chipping away those seconds, nearly 3 seconds per lap quicker than Toto Wolff. Still some time left in this stint. So lap 40, and again showing you the scheduled weather, the end of stint 9. You want to have a look at this. It is scheduled to be RO6, so it should be like it should be raining with that setting, but still it's not guaranteed. We see again more clouds, and with the final 2 stints being fixed, we should be getting towards that weather slot within the next 10 to 15 minutes. And maybe we see a little bit of rain drama towards the end of that stint as well. The 1 minute 33, the gap between Neo and Evo. P1, P2 on the lead lap, then pole sitter in P3, 1 lap down already. And Lugi not really able to get into the 2 minutes 17s to bring that gap down to pole sitter after that pit stop. So needs to find the next gear, push like crazy. We saw Lugi running 2 minute 17 lap times on fresh tires throughout this stint 9 lobby. It definitely has the pace, but maybe not feeling that well. So it's a long day for the most of the drivers. Lugi also competed in another endurance event earlier this weekend. It was a Saturday for me. I was driving at Laguna Seca and a quick transfer to Belgium, adjusting conditions, car, keeping that gap now around about 6.5 seconds, 17.6, that's more like it. But also pole sitter doing some great lap times still. 2 minute 17s all the way it is. And Mazda in P5 for Sector 7 Racing, still running on very, very worn medium tires. So they are hoping for rain now to get back, to get closer to P4. It definitely looks overcast again, so we see dark clouds coming. But can they survive on those? Like they are 95% down, the tires at this stage. Probably. And I think they cannot stay out now. They have to pit with this tire wear. And doesn't look like the rain will be arriving within the next 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah, business decision, into the pits we go. Oh, we heard some wall contact or maybe just lag, but don't see any damage on that car. So into the pits it is for Mazda and Oscar in P6. Mazda should keep P5 though. P6 for Oscar for MRL Iceman, the second MRL team in P7. McNaughty for Syndicate Racing in P8. It's Toto Wolff for Loose Moose Racing in P9. Adriano still pushing. 1 minute 38. And we go. Don't want to go to that. So let's get this camera view and we use it for weather inspection. Oh, it feels like rain. It feels like rain. Come on. Simulation, weather simulations. Do it. Bring it. It's 30 seconds. That gap now between La Bomba Negra and Adriano, and still judging those clouds. So I think it looked like there's some rain already happening. It's not at the track side, but if you get a good wind direction, I want to see some rain. Come on, do it, do it, do it. Bit deep into the bus stop. So is it going to happen? It's still dry, but very, very overcast and lap 43. So my guess was lap 45. Roughly 5 minutes away from a potential downpour. So 1 minute 35 the gap between P1 and P2, 1:41 pole sitter. Lugi gained a little bit now, 5 seconds, so finally into those 2 minute 17s and another 2:17, no, 2:18.2, but gaining on that sector 7 BMW. Under 5 seconds now. Alright, it could be happening, that battle as well for the podium, the final podium position at the moment. It's Sector 7 Team Racing, and Mazda moves out of the way for pole sitter. Now sits in between pole sitter and Lugi. Well, Lugi with a half a second penalty, probably cutting Radion or Rouge somewhere. That. So P5, it is Mazda Oscar, 6:30 seconds. Oh, look at that. Mazda went on to the intermediate tire, so they see they have access to the weather radar. So it is raining, ladies and gentlemen. It is raining. I just saw the windshield wipers coming on. So the first few drops of rain have hit the track, or was it just a prank from the Sector 7 car? Oh, it's not raining. It is not raining. It was. Maybe we will see. It is so, but that Mazda intermediate tire call, it probably was just like desperation move. There were some rain clouds on that weather radar, and they had to pit for tires, but it was too early. I think that call. So no rain here. I got a little bit excited. A little bit excited. Oh no. It still can happen though. It still can happen. So again, mark my words, lap 45, we will see the rain. 1 minute 34 the gap. Neo and Evo, and yeah, but it's still dry all the way around. So it's darker at Stavello. But yeah, no rain. And we'll have a look at Mazda's intermediate tires. Already show some wear. It's definitely not intermediate conditions. Hey, Mazda is struggling, losing time, of course. 27 seconds that gap. So Neo staying out. Evo, we'll have a look. See if we spot some raindrops. So Neo on that lap 45. It's definitely dark now. Darker than before. Oh, cut that Eau Rouge Radeon bit. Half a second it is for Neo, but not too bad. So this final sector now, still no rain. Bolsitter and Lugi, 5 seconds apiece. But it smells like rain now. So Mazda still running on those inters. Lost. Look at that, 22, 24. And not the pace you want to go. Oscar in P6. Staying out, Iceman coming round to see if one of the drivers head into the pits. Now, while driving through that final sector. It's still dry. And yeah, no access to the weather radar while being in spectate mode. Oh. One minute the gap between the two MRL teams, and Iceman is staying out. Okay. P8, it is McNaughty for the 64 Syndicate Racing Corvette. Toto Wolff then in P9, 1 minute 30. That gap is melting between Toto Wolff and Adriano. Adriano gained 30 seconds since the last pit stop. He's still flying, 2 minutes 17, pushing like crazy. So Neo stayed out for another lap. So unfortunately, it's not lap 45 that the rain hits the track. Maybe it won't be hitting the track. After all, it was just in the air somewhere. But again, couldn't get that close to the track. So definitely rain in the area here in the Ardennes Forests. But it looks like the racetrack got lucky again. Okay, and that experiment is over. Intermediates didn't work, so Mazda loses the position. Now P5 to Oscar. So a bold strategy call from the Sector 7 racing team. They were hoping for rain. Rain didn't come to the track. So in the end, they lost a position. So Oscar Feuerl up to P5. So we see just changing the tires. Racing softs it is now for Mazda. It's also an indicator. Oh, and gets a 3-second penalty, so that is a very unlucky second half of the racing stint for Mazda. 3 seconds for cutting a pit lane lines somewhere, entry or exit, and then the unlucky call with the intermediates. They had damage with a massive spin. We're fighting for P4, definitely now down to P6. So lap 47 for the race leader just started. It will be lap 52 for the driver swap. He was still running in P2, pole sitter in third position. Lugi under 4 seconds, just gained a little bit of time. Can see that BMW again. We'll get a glimpse at the car on that Camel Straight. Good run up towards Radeon. 3.9, staying under 4 seconds. So then what's the gap to Oscar? 3:16.605. That's 2 minutes. I don't know. I'm bad with quick bath usually, but a huge gap, let's call it, between P4 and P5. So Mazda on soft tires now, 23 seconds again, and pushing those softs now. See what they can do, but collecting another penalty for cutting track limits. Iceman in P7, 23 seconds, that gap to McNaughty in P8. Toto Wolff then in P9, 9 minutes 50 to 7 minutes 31, that's 2 minutes 20 roughly. So we see they are quite close actually on Jack McNaughty. It looks like a bit more pace, trying to get that lap back. And Toto Wolff struggling on the exit of La Source. This gives McNaughty the run and gets back onto the same lap as Toto Wolff. What about Adriano? 1 minute 27. That gap still pushing. P10. And probably not the end of that journey. A massive stint for the 999 car. And let's go back to P3 and P4. Lugi brought that gap down to 2.6 seconds. So a little bit of the tire advantage after that one extra stop strategy now could help them towards the end of the stint get back onto the podium position. GT45 Gaming is back with us for the next stint. I just read that, so yeah. Hardest working man for this 24-hour. And again, if you want to talk, you have to unmute your mic. Looks like you have pressed the wrong hotkeys again. See, you have disabled audio and microphone. Or maybe just setting up the stream. And so, pretty sure we will hear GT45 Gaming in a couple of minutes or seconds. You will be ready for stint 10 then for all of us. .2 seconds now, Lugi lying 2:79 last time around, a very good lap time. And will we see a move happening on lap 48? The leader is on lap 49, so the end of lap 52 is where the driver swaps will be happening. So let's go back to pole sitter and Lugi. Battle for P3 is on. At least we have a battle for position. We didn't get the rain, so let's hope for a great battle for that P3. Lugi catching better tires compared to pole sitter in that BMW. Can they defend 2-minute 19s? Last time around, Lugi was pushing 2-minute 17s in a row. But then again, can we see a move happening that GTR is not like the quickest on the straight, struggled to get past another car on that Camel straight, but is definitely now in a good position. 7/10, that middle sector is huge. And under half a second coming out of Stavelot, run into Blanchimont, and it is a run. We go to the hot racing action now. Final couple of minutes of stint number 9. 4/10 that gap, braking for the bus stop. You see pole sitter is struggling for grip through that section, covering the inside maybe. Still has 2/10, but Lugi not going for the move. Ooh. Ooh, there was contact, Lugi. Yeah, saw that. It wasn't intentional. We go back to that sequence once again. Pole sitter was taking the middle of the road then, and Lugi, oh yeah, just misjudged that slightly, but instantly backing out of it. No damage for both of the cars. And here we go again. Under a second it is. Oh, and looks like stint 10 stream is scheduled and ready. So I'll, oopsie, just post the link in here. So you have like a seamless transition for the next one.
Everybody, we're
And
back.
ooh, guess who's back? Back again.
The host with the most, your boy
Shady's
Ghost.
back. Hello, friend. Guess who's back?
That's
Guess who's
funny.
back? Guess who's back?
Sing it, baby.
Guess who's back? Na na na. Ah, felt like singing a little bit. No, I had my
Oh, yeah.
I had my 5 minutes of singing throughout the night, so all good. Yeah.
Alright, so you guys are probably hearing sounds on my stream that are a little off to Jaeger's stream right now. That's just the way the log is transitioning, so bear with. But we're going to leave it in the hands of Jaeger for now until the driver swaps start happening, and then we'll
Yeah.
do our beautiful little transitions we got going
Ooh,
on here.
you do? Okay, nice. So right, we have that battle for P3, and it's again Lugi all over pole sitter. On top of Radion, it's 1/10. Pole sitter defending the inside line. Lugi with his trick on the straight, and this on GTR looking to go for a move around the outside. The end of Camel into Le Corp, off track, there's contact between two cars. Oh, and pole sitter gets damage with that contact. Unlucky again. Lugi on the inside, pole sitter then over the curb and got run wide into the barrier. It is replay time. It is replay time once again.
Ooh, juicy.
So they went side by side into the braking zone, and then it was Lugi. Let's see, onto the Astro, out of control the car, and then it is damage for the number 13 car, unfortunately. So we'll watch that again from the chase cam perspective, I think.
How well doing over here, GT?
It should-
Things hope we're all well.
Should give us like the best views, a bit of lag, then it's just, yeah, the car got unsettled, so very unlucky, but I'm pretty sure a car is having contact resulting in damage. This will lead into an incident report for the stewards and probably a slam dunk penalty. Cannot argue with that. I mean, if you are out of control, giving another car damage, that's cannot argue with that. So Neo is on that final lap of that stint, lap 51, 1 minute in. So roughly 1 minute away from that driver swap. So Shadow, I was showing all the other cars, but we have to stick to a battle that is happening. We are desperate for battles. Yeah, I know you want to see the gaps, and you will see them really soon once the driver swap's happening. But there's not much going on anywhere else on the track, unfortunately. So bear with me with this, the broadcast and all, how it's happening.
It sounds like the viewers are getting restless. They need some commentator cursing to start happening.
Yeah.
I mean, you tried. You asked for rain. You got rain. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what else, right?
Maybe I had one drop of rain somewhere, at least. So Neo into the pits now, the leader. Now going for that driver swap. 1 minute 36. That gap to Evo in P2. Still taking some time. Lugi is still running in P3. Pole sitter in P4. 1.8 seconds the gap. with that damage, low on fuel, but no point pitting. They have to do one more lap though. Oscar in P5, 6 minutes behind the leaders. Mazda in P6 on soft tires pushing. And
That's 6 hours now for that driver that I can confirm with Mazda. He's putting in some work there for Sector 7 here this weekend.
so Iceman in P7, 48 seconds that gap to P6. McNaughty in P8, 30 seconds. It says final lap. I'm a bit confused what's happening in that scene. No, it was just a glitch with the game. Oof, oof, oof,
Shocker.
oof. Yeah, I was like,
Boy,
no,
that-
no.
Isn't that been the motif for today here? Thankfully, the glitches are cosmetic and,
Yeah.
not affecting the race itself. So we can
True.
at least be thankful for that.
True, so true, yeah. Toto Wolff in P9, 2 minutes 20 nearly behind P8, and Adriano with like the driver of the stint probably up to P10, 1 minute 19 behind Toto
Hello,
Wolff.
Ray.
That is a great drive. So we should see Evo now arriving at his crew, getting ready for that driver swap. So the first two drivers are in. Lugi in P3 is on that final lap of the stint. Now 2.5 seconds the gap to pole sitter in P4.
So it appears we have a decent little gap going between ORT and ERA Esports here, or
Rawr.
Esports Race Asylum. We'll get it out eventually. So I'm a little curious what happened throughout the last couple hours here. Was it just sheer race pace that separated the drivers, or was there a couple little mistakes on the racetrack there, or what went down there?
The driver swap, we had like the 2 minute plus thingy going on. Then the leaders were forced to go out on intermediates in those conditions, and then they had to do the extra pit stop to go on to the mediums. Since then, that gap stayed roughly at 1 minute 30 between the two teams. So that's where the Esports Race Asylum team gained roughly 40 seconds on the leaders.
So yeah, it actually it's King Ears taking over the piloting of the Esports Race Asylum Corvette here, the 44 car. That gap is exactly as you state, 1.5 minutes separating first and second place here currently. But again, keynote, they were a lap down just 4 hours ago. They are now only 1.5 minutes behind the race leaders. We have 6 hours remaining. Oh, it's on like Donkey Kong. That's all I'm gonna say.
P3 in the pits and P4 following closely behind. So 3.5 seconds that gap between the 77 and the 13 car before that.
All right, so now that we're at the 18-hour mark, we're precisely 3/4 of the way through this 24-hour race here now. This is when things start to get really serious in the paddocks. The teams start to wake up a little bit. The hearts start to slowly heart rate start to increase a little bit. The next two racers that are on the list to finish off the race for each of the teams are probably starting to feel a little bit of that pressure now. They have the plan from the team. They have the orders. And it's all about execution over the next 360 minutes, call it 5 hours, 5.5 hours of racing precisely, give or take. Call it 6. We're going to call it 6.
Yeah, 6.
So, Race Asylum GTR, Race Asylum 1, I believe this is now coming out here, third place, 1.5 minutes in behind the esports team car. And Macho out for Sector 7 BMW team, only 7 seconds in behind. So immediately we do have a short gap here between two teams. So that's lovely.
Interesting. It was 3.5 when they went into the pits. So maybe change tires?
Could be. It could very well be.
Yeah.
I'm going to go take a little peek-sees here and see what I see. Interesting.
I mean, they were just doing one out lap, so probably, but yeah, if you're being stationary in the pits, you probably want to change tires
ultimately now,
for the temps.
Each each of the teams that are just about to prepare that driver swap and get the car up on the jack, up on the hydraulic lifts, I mean, they all have that decision to make at this point. Again, the track is showing about, we're going to call it 50% moisture currently here.
Oh.
And, a little mistake made here by Macho as well as we're coming into pool on there. So those cold tires and wet conditions, semi-wet conditions, caught him out a little bit there. It's going to cost him some time to Hansa there. And the gap is growing now to about 16 seconds. So a little unfortunate there, but still early in the stint.
That's correct. But yeah, those little mistakes, they can add up. And so we see E5, the MRL, the 33 BMW now getting ready for their driver swaps into the bus stop chicane for the final time it is for Oscar. And no drama on that pit entry. So Oscar is in. What about Mazda for Sector 7 Racing, that Renault RS01? In we go.
It's going to be a fellow Australian taking over the helm there for that team here, as well as Ando's going to step back in behind the wheel to take on stint number 10 here for that Sector 7 Racing Renault team as well. So the Australians are putting in some work here in the latter parts of this race here for Sector 7 Racing number 1 team it is.
And then we're waiting for more cars. So yeah, we have a two cars teams that have retired their cars, the AHR 69 and the LRC McLaren.
No, the LRC boys.
Yeah.
Hearts broken on that one. They were just giving it everything they had. Oh, that's tough. Heart goes out to the LRC team. Absolutely fantastic, tough, hard racing here today. All right, so Jakey is out and Welshie is out, and I'm not sure what happened there. Ooh, big moment right there. We're definitely going to have to get back onto that. And that is not what a driver wants to see right at the beginning of their stint. Just fresh out of the pit lane, lack of traction on the racetrack, and oh boy. That is tough, and I'm sorry, boys, but we got to see it. And that just coming out of pit lane, just a little too happy on the throttle into the mud and grass, and thankfully, Code Brown right there. That MRL car semi-ghosted and did not collect up the 6th place driver. Woo! Tough call. That was a close moment there. Definitely some damage on that racing car from the MRL 33 car. We'll have to wait and see what they decide they're going to do with that. But the way we've seen these race starts here, Ando now closing in as well, of course, due to that mistake made by Welshie there, and Ando is only a couple seconds in behind there as well. So, scary moments. Brown flag, yep, absolutely. But you know what? They're still forward. They're still going. The car's still moving, and they got 6 hours. So let's see what they can do with it. We got Yeast out for MRL2 here in the GTR as well, and 54 seconds is the gap to him and Sector 7 Racing's Renault team. So 8 drivers of the remaining 12 in the field now out on track. And just as I say that, we do have, I believe, probably the Syndicate Racing Corvette next. If I had to guess, based off the driver, it is Hidey, our French driver coming in. Is that French? Maybe not.
No, that's Dutch.
Apologize if I got it wrong. Dutch. I'm so sorry. My apologies, everybody. But Cupcake made a bold prediction, my co-host in the last through stint 7 and 8, which we do appreciate. Cupcake, my awesome co-host. If you're still kicking around, appreciate you, homie G. Love you, my man. That was absolutely fantastic stuff coming from you, brother, and definitely we want to do more of that. That was great. But Hidey making a mistake there. 64 Corvette. Yeah, you get it a little bit wrong, and drivers struggling very early on here in this stint, getting the car to come to terms with the track very early on. So maybe a little bit of adrenaline pumping through some of our drivers here as they come out for our third last stint of the race. King Ears is in pit lane, coming off of those tires. So here we go. The pit stop transition starts. So some drivers, the drivers obviously that are on the lead lap, which is King Ears and Player Professor right now from the ORT Lexus team, have to make that extra pit essentially in the race because they're kind of, their hands are kind of forced with the way that the race starts. They need to take that wet tire for, well, I mean, the safety of the car in the race, essentially. It's a big risk to come out on the medium tire. Not every one of these drivers' name is Evo, so safety is important, especially nearing the conclusion of our race here in 6 hours' time, little less. So King Ears is coming out, undercut, so to speak, strategy here, but the track is still about 60% wet coming out of pit lane, so
interesting.
he's going to have to be careful here. I think the racetrack itself is probably a little bit drier, and of course pit lane is going to stay a lot more wet for a little bit longer because there's less traffic traveling it. But yeah, once we get to track surface, we're at about 33-40% moisture here, so he's gonna have to be a little cautious here, get those tires up to temperature, and of course make sure he's stuck to that drier line as he continues around. So Hansa is a minute 39 in behind, and also clearly on the wet tires, based off the fact that he just totally dove that car into the wet line to cool them guys down a little bit. And when is it that he's going to choose to come in, I suppose, is the big question there. Macho for Sector 7 Racing here in 4th place, 38 seconds in behind. Hamza has some damage on his racing car, so not an ideal start there for the Sector 7 BMW racing team here either. And potentially good for ERA Racing, Race Asylum number 2 team. ERA drivers and Race Asylum teams, very confusing. too late in the day.
E10 is in the pits, so just missing one driver. That's the 45. McLaren.
So Jakey here is 2.5 minutes in behind Macho, and we'll have to wait and see how everything comes out. Some drivers are on wet, some drivers are on racing slicks, so there's going to be some pit stops happening here over the next few minutes as well, I assume. Interesting to see how all that's going to shape out at the end of the day. Ando's in 6th place, so up a position here from the driver swap now. Welsh making that mistake for MRL BMW team, losing that position to Ando and Jakey coming out of pit exit, and over the next concurring 4 laps or 3 laps leading up to this point here, and we have
45 is in, and that concludes the Stint 9 broadcast. So head over to Stint 10 if you haven't already. Probably no one is watching the stream anymore, so see you in 2 hours with Stint 11. Until then, bye bye.
Cheers for now.